Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We're constantly updating it with new content and never seen before content. So if you want to get the latest from Harvest, hit the subscribe button. Then he went into the temple and began to drive out those who bought and sold in it, saying, "It is written, my house is a house of prayer, but you've made it a den of thieves." And he was teaching daily in the temple, but the chief priests and the scribes and the leaders sought to destroy him, but were unable to do anything, for the people were very attentive to hear him. Now understand, this was not an explosion of anger. It's not like Jesus was ticked off because he hadn't had lunch, or he was just irritated. No, this was righteous indignation. God becomes angry, but he never loses his temper. Aren't you glad God doesn't lose his temper? Would that freak you out? Planets are flying around, you know. No, this was righteous anger that he was experiencing. The Gospel of Mark gives us a few more details about what we just read. We read that Jesus entered the temple, began to drive out the merchants and their customers, and he knocked over the tables of the money changers and stalls of those selling doves. I love this. This flies in the face of the sort of anemic, scrawny Jesus you see in a lot of religious art. That dude couldn't lift anything. The Jesus of the Bible, he was a man's man, and he's overturning these massive tables. Now, that's kind of a radical thing, to overturn a table. You want to get someone's attention, do that. How many times have we seen Westerns, right? And it's that they're all in the bar, and they're all the same. It seems all Westerns are the same, you know, and they're sitting around the table gambling, and you know, the piano player always wears a derby hat. It's mandatory. All piano players in Westerns wear a little derby hat, and he always has a garter on his sleeve, right? And he's playing ding, 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 you know, and everyone's in it, you know, doing their thing. And then one gambler says to another, "I think you're cheating." And he says, "I'm not cheating. No, I think you're cheating." And then he stands up and overturns the table. Always the piano player, ding, 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 stops. And then he runs, and then the fight breaks out, and the guns start firing. We've seen this scene. This is what was happening. Jesus did something kind of radical. He was provoking them. Now we say, "No, wait a second. What happened to the meek Jesus?" Didn't Jesus say in the really only autobiographical statement he ever gave in Matthew 11:29, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and humble in heart." Yeah, meek. How is this meek? Oh, this is real meek. Do you understand there's the difference between being meek and weak? When you're weak, you can't do anything. When you're meek, you choose to not do something. So if you're like a scrawny little guy on the beach and the big muscle-bound guy comes along, kicks sand in your face, and you don't respond, that's not because you're meek. It's because you're weak and you don't want to get your lights knocked out, you know? But let's say you're trained in mixed martial arts or whatever, and the guy does it, and you say, "I'm not going to end his life today." That's meekness. Because meekness means power under constraint. It means I could take you out right now, but I'm not going to do it because I'm choosing not to. I'm going to control myself. Yeah, Jesus was meek, but he was not weak. He constrained those things, but when they attacked him, he didn't retaliate. When they ripped the beard from his face, he did not strike back. When they pounded spikes through his hands, he did not destroy them, though he could have. Oh, but it's different when they're hurting others, you see. See, what was happening here is a bunch of these guys were coming in and they were ripping off the people. Instead of praying for the people that had come to worship, they were praying on the people. And someone would come in with their little offering, their sacrificial lamb or turtle doves or whatever, and they'd say, "Oh, you know what, this isn't quite meeting our standard, but we're having this special closeout deal today on blessed animals, and you can buy one of these at a jacked up price, and we'll throw in some Ginsu knives if you want." So people were getting ripped off. They were getting taken advantage of. And this bothered Jesus. Why? Because people had come to worship God, and these guys were keeping them away. Did you know that can happen in church too? You know, sometimes a non-believer might walk into our midst and they don't know the protocol. They don't know how to dress, what is considered acceptable or not acceptable. So maybe the girl wears an outfit that's a little okay. Or the guy wears some shirt with some bizarre slogan on it, or they're all tatted and pierced or whatever. And they come walking in and we go, well, I don't really know if that's really an appropriate way to dress in the house of God. And I don't really think you can come in here right now. And listen, I want you to know something about this church. This church is a hospital for sinners. It's not a museum for saints. And we want lost people to come and find Jesus Christ. So if you see someone walk in here that doesn't look like they fit in, you welcome them. Those are exactly the kind of people we want to reach. Not just those people, but we want to reach all people. And these folks, these religious leaders, were keeping people away from God. Are you doing that? Here's a question to ask yourself. Are you a stepping stone or are you a stumbling block to someone coming to Jesus? Are you a bridge or a barrier to someone putting their faith in Christ? Listen, every believer is a witness. It just comes down to this. Are you a good one or are you a bad one?